Women in EdTech is such an important topic. We're going to talk about that next on the EdTech vlog. Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Harris, and this is the EdTech vlog. I'm currently coming to you from Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. I just finished a two-day conference here for BET Middle East 2019. And I wanted to talk to you about something that I got to participate in at this BET conference, and then I also participated in a similar session in BET in Kuala Lumpur and BET Asia last month in March 2019. So in both of these conferences, I've had the opportunity to sit on actually panels around women in EdTech, right? And you're thinking, great, Matt's going to talk about women in EdTech. This is not fitting right. And I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But it's a really important topic, and I've been pretty honored to sit on a couple panels. So anyway, the one in Asia was women in leadership, in EdTech leadership specifically, and this one was women in STEM and innovation. So that was the one for the Middle East. The one in Asia was women in leadership. And they've both gotten me thinking quite a bit, because I've been part of these really rich conversations around the role of women in EdTech and in these areas that are so critical to us. And I want to talk about it here, because this is just a topic that I don't think is spoken about enough. So, you know, if you look at the statistics for education, it's something like 80% of the teachers, especially in primary, are women. And yet the reverse is true. It's something like 65 to 70% of the administrators are men. And in EdTech, that gets even more messed around. So the numbers around women in EdTech from a teaching perspective are somewhat even for men, but in leadership positions, they're not. And in influential positions, they're not. And that's just wrong. You know, people usually will say things around, well, you know, my mother was a woman, and I'm married to a woman, or I have a daughter that's a woman. Yeah, well okay, fine. But that's not the heart of the problem. It's not about you, and it's not about me being a male. It's just wrong. And I think that we need to spend more time encouraging and creating opportunities for women to take leadership and influential roles, especially in EdTech. And I believe this because it's right. It's the right thing to do. It's representative. It rights some past wrongs, so there's a notion of equity related to this. It sets wonderful examples for the students, where women are doing things that the girls will see and the boys will see, and seeing that there is no gender line when it comes to using technology for learning or technology for anything, as there should not be. You know, girls should be coding. Girls should be doing maker items, and they're just not in the same ways that the boys are. There's a lot of reasons for that, but a way to solve part of that problem is to promote more women and to have more women in leadership positions in EdTech. So I'm really strong on this subject, and I've been for quite a while, but it's been very interesting having these conversations at these conferences, because we'll talk about them and there's a need. There's always a need, as I'm mentioning here, but that need comes from some situations that we need to identify first before we start coming up with some solutions. So what I want to talk about now, related to women in EdTech, is talk about the situation as it is, and have a little discussion about privilege, and then talk about some things that I would recommend and hope for schools to do to encourage more women in leadership or places of influence around STEM, innovation, or EdTech. So let's talk about the issues first, and then move into more of those solutions that I would suggest. And again, this is an outsider's perspective, because I am male. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. So let's talk about the issues. So why are men more prevalent within this field? Is it a gender-specific thing? Is it a cultural thing? I don't believe that. And it really frustrates me quite a bit when they say, well, women do this more often, and men do that more often, and these people are risk takers, and those people are not. I don't think that's true. I really don't think that there are social or attitudinal items that are connected to gender. As the same thing, they're not tied to race or to socioeconomic background. I don't think that's true. You know, men aren't stronger. Women aren't more caring. That's just not right. So then where do I think the problems come in? And I think the problems come in opportunity. where systems and practices and cultures within schools around EdTech have specifically made it so that men are in a privileged position to move into these spaces. They're given greater leadership opportunities at younger ages. They're more encouraged to try out levels of influence, and they get greater support along the way than women do. It is not a gender-specific quality that makes that happen. It's a systemic challenge. So knowing that and saying that there is a privilege in finding leadership and influential positions as a male, what I want to say is we have to approach that from looking at this from a privilege perspective, where to get women more into places of leadership and influence, we need to provide women more privilege, more opportunity, more encouragement. So my suggestion for schools, for ministries of education, for whatever a body that is, or even for people within the field is, find ways to give women opportunities to do more leadership opportunities within a particular school. And what I would suggest here, and where I've seen the most success, is that it becomes incremental. So programmatic leadership, programmatic influence that then moves into broader scale items around coaching, management, supervision of people, that then moves on to overall like departmental leadership. I'm not suggesting automatically putting people into strong influential positions because of gender. No, I'm suggesting that women within our schools should be more encouraged, supported, and given opportunities for influence without requiring them to be the front of the line in raising their hand. I want them to do that, and I want them to take that forward, but we need to push past this privileged item of men who've had that encouragement for all of their lives within the educational space and start encouraging women to do the same thing. I'm not suggesting changing standards or altering hiring practices, but giving encouragement and opportunity in small incremental ways to have women build the skill sets that will make them more competitive for these bigger leadership and influential positions. I think that's incumbent on every school, and I think it ties to the mission of every school to serve all people. So I really don't understand people that say, well, we shouldn't be doing this and everything should be equal. Yeah, but this is not an equality problem. This is an equity problem. And there's a difference in those two words that I think is very critical, especially talking about women in positions of leadership and in positions of influence within a school. Equality suggests that everybody's on an equal playing field. That's fine, but that's not true. We know this, and from what I've just said, men are not on an equal playing field. They have a privilege of experience, of opportunity that women have not historically had. So we need to take an equity approach. And an equity approach suggests that additional privilege and additional opportunities are explicitly given to women so that they can build those skills around learning, leadership and learning and leadership and program that are not explicitly given to men, they're implicitly given to men. So what I'm saying is that the best approach to help women get into positions of leadership is to give them those explicit opportunities for program influence and innovation, and to support them. Support them through peer support, through mentorship with people internally, and connections to those externally. Connect them to other women that have gone through similar experiences, to men that are going to help them move forward with some of their experiences, and any number of online resources. But it's incumbent on schools and all of these other influential organizations to make that more part of the mission of the school. So we look for diversity of hiring. We should also look for diversity of support and opportunity for these specific programs and encouragement. And frankly, going out and encouraging women to take on influential roles in smaller entities, knowing that the sum of those parts will then push them towards more leadership in broader EdTech context, which I think is absolutely critical. Anyway, that was a little bit of rambling, and I apologize because I'm trying to formulate more ideas around this to give schools very specific approaches towards mentoring, supporting, and offering opportunities for women, because women are underrepresented in our field, and it's wrong. And I'm almost embarrassed by it, being a male in this field and not having enough female colleagues in leadership positions. I go to job alikes with EdTech directors or IT managers, and it's a very, very small percentage of women that are in those rooms. Sometimes it's zero. That's wrong. This is one of the most influential parts of education today, is the use of technology and tools for learning, STEM, innovation. This is the future. And right now, women are not represented in the influential leadership areas of that future. That is a crisis that needs to be addressed, and it has to be addressed in the school leadership, the training opportunities, the middle management areas of every single school. And so I put it on you. Anybody that's watching, put it on your school. How are they addressing gender equity in EdTech? What are the things that they can do to support women, to give greater opportunities, build skills, build confidence, give them the same knowledge and experience that the men are getting implicitly? How are they going to do that? I put it to them. And if they want to talk to me, send them my way too. I'd love to help out, because this is something that is that's very close to my heart, and something that I think we should be doing. It's something very important. So hey, do me a favor. Down at the bottom of the screen here, you're going to see some links. One of them to subscribe to my channel, and one to Twitter. I'm going to talk more and more about this notion of gender equity and providing mentorship opportunities to people around EdTech leadership in general. Again, because it's so close to my heart, it's something that I, again, believe in very heavily, and I'm getting more and more opportunities to speak about these things, and trying to help people move forward in this space as they should be. So I'll talk about that a little bit more along the way here on the vlog. So please subscribe to the vlog. And then I share resources, and I talk with people, and I even mentor people around the world around getting into EdTech positions. And if you're male or female and you want to help address this issue, please contact me. Send me a note through Twitter, direct message me, follow me. Let's connect and have a discussion. We'll talk about very concrete, specific things that you can do in your school to make this happen. Okay? So it's very late at night here in Abu Dhabi. I probably look like I'm cross-eyed, but I very much wanted to talk about this before I got on a plane tomorrow. So I've done that, and I'm happy, and have a good night.